Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 33. Andrew Eisen here, along with Zachary Knight. Hello,
Hello,
Zachary.
hello, Andrew. How are you doing?
Doing all right. I think I've finally just stopped playing Yakuza 5. Yakuza 4 comes out next week, so it's a good time to stop. But I have to say that
You're playing Yakuza 5 and Yakuza 4 comes out next
I'm
week?
sorry, Yakuza 0 comes out next week.
Okay, that makes
Um,
more sense.
yeah, the
Sort
the
of.
the prequel game. Yeah, it goes way back in time. Uh, so my final totals on the game are 237 hours. Now keep in mind that I've been
Holy
playing
cow.
this game since last summer, so it's not like I've been holed up in my house all month. No, I've been playing it for months and months and months. But what do you suppose after 237 hours my completion percentage is?
See, for a Yakuza game, I'm going to
Yeah.
go 37.3%.
Okay, not that bad. 70%. I think it's like 70.4. I think it's 236 hours and 58 minutes and 70.14% completion. Um, I,
Wow.
I at least, so what do I have left? Well, I still need to eat everything at every single restaurant, drink everything at every single bar, and that's like not really fun. It's just kind of busy work.
Yeah.
I don't really care to do that. Plus you have to you can't just order all the food and stuff it down your face. Um, you see, as when you eat food, your health goes up, and if your health is maxed out, then you're not hungry. And when you drink, you get drunk, and if you have too much, if you're too drunk, they won't serve you any more alcohol. There are items you can buy to reduce hunger, which basically lowers your health, and reduce hangover, but you can only carry 20 things at a time. So it's like you load up on turmeric or whatever the anti-hangover thing is, and you have to eat like 4 or 5 of them to get completely not drunk. And it only takes you about 3 stiff drinks until you're drunk, which means you go into a bar, you order a drink, order another drink, order a third drink, then you have to take 5 things to get non-drunk, order more drinks, and then once you repeat that 4 more times, you have to run back to a convenience store to buy more anti-hangover meds. And it's like, I just really don't feel like it. I didn't complete. You can play Virtua Fighter 2 in the arcade. Uh, to complete it, you have to beat all 10 peoples in a row. Basically, you have to beat the game. I
Huh.
got through. I got through 6 fighters. I'm like, I'm good. I really don't feel like catching the rest of the fish in the sea and the river because that's just almost completely random and just
Yeah.
takes forever. I just don't want to. But I at least tried everything in the game, and it's a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to Yakuza 0 next week, which actually brings me to a short little isn't that nice story. I pre-ordered Yakuza 4 back in like December 5th or something like
You mean
that.
Yakuza 0?
Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying 4. It's 0. I pre-ordered Yakuza 0 back in December 5th before I had
Mm-hmm.
a PS4. I bought the PS4 like December 27th or 8th or something like that. And it's still sitting in its box over there because I don't have Yakuza 0 yet. There's no reason to open it.
And you haven't played Uncharted 3 yet, so
Right,
no
right. I
reason
mean,
to play
it,
Uncharted
it
4. Yeah.
comes with Uncharted 4, but I haven't played 3 yet, so it sits in the box. Um, so I pre-ordered Yakuza 0. I have the PS4, and I was excitedly waiting for it to come next week. And I got a notice from Amazon uh, where I pre-ordered it that the game will ship on January 30th and is expected to arrive days later. I'm like, wait, what? It it releases on the 24th. Why is it shipping on the 30th? Why is it shipping nearly a week after it releases? I could I would get it quicker if I just bought it on launch day.
Yeah.
So I emailed Amazon customer service And it wrote back to me. It said, "I'm sorry that our delivery estimate for your pre-order is not as you expected. Please rest assured I'll help you with the details. Upon checking the order details, I see the order was placed with a free shipping method that usually takes 4 to 5 business days to deliver the item once it is shipped." And at this point, I was thinking, oh, for crying out loud, I don't care that I'm going to get it 4 to 5 days after it ships. I care that you're shipping it 6 days after it releases. You should ship it the day it releases. So I get it as close to release as possible. But I kept reading, and it says, "In this case, to correct this for you, I've upgraded I've upgraded the shipping method to 1 day shipping at no additional charges to you so that the order will be delivered to within 1 day of its release date. After the shipping upgrade, the estimated delivery date for this shipment is Tuesday, January 24th. So rest assured, you'll not be charged any extra amount, blah, 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 blah. We're grateful for loyal customers, and we can't afford to lose your expectations. Look forward to serve, blah, 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 all that good stuff." I'm like, wow, that's not what I was expecting. I was just like, I don't need you to upgrade my shipping. Just ship it the day it releases, not a week later. But I'll take it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
If you want to ship it, give me 1 day shipping. So apparently, I'll be getting Yakuza 0 a Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Amazon is a good company for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes it could be a little annoying, but yeah, when you legitimately have a problem, yeah, they correct it, and it looks like they're going above and beyond with yours. I think what happened is that your specific email complaint got caught up in I guess the wrong automated response queue,
maybe,
and they just didn't realize it, exactly what your complaint was.
I'm guessing that the site actually is incorrectly communicating the ship date. I think the site is supposed to communicate that it ships the 24th, but you probably won't get it until the 30th because of your free shipping 4 to 5 business days thing. When actually but it doesn't say that. It says it's not shipping until the 30th. I'm like, well, that's not right. They could have but whatever. I get the game sooner.
How do you pronounce your new screen name? I don't know how to say that.
That's even harder, Hawks. Adavar Rila? I can't even tell what symbol it is above the A.
Yeah. Looks like I don't know.
I don't know. I just went brr on the keyboard, and that's what came out, and it looked good. So all right. So how about you, Zachary? How have you been?
Oh, I've been pretty good this week. Holly, not a lot of gaming stuff going on. Right now I'm in grind mode on I gotta find a right position for my camera here. I'm on grind mode in Grandia and Final Fantasy IV, because in Final Fantasy IV, I'm at the very last dungeon, and there's some really tough bosses in there, and I'm like 5 to 8 levels 5 to 8 under leveled to beat most of them. So I got to grind in that, and I hate grinding in Final Fantasy games. It's not fun. And then Grandia, I'm in grind mode because I just want to increase my magic and weapon levels, skill levels, because I know a couple of my characters are going to be leaving my party soon. And in Grandia, when a character leaves your party, you get a portion of their skill level back as an item that you can use to boost other character skill levels. And so I want to get those up as high as I can before I have to lose them. It's like I don't need to grind. Like I breeze through all the bosses and stuff right as I am, but I really want those skill items because they're very useful. But the only other game, I've started a couple of games, and there's this one developer, and I don't even know how to say this developer's name. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Allie, where are you? I have an internet connection. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
I don't know. Let me see if I can. Why is this saying that I don't have an internet connection?
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. You wouldn't be here if you didn't.
Yeah, I know. But this guy makes a bunch of 2D games in using Unity. I found out he uses Unity because one of the games that he released, he left the splash screen on, and the Unity splash screen. So it's like, okay. Um, Here we go. Moititi, I guess. Moititi. Something like Moitititi. And it's like, okay, this is the developer, but he makes a whole bunch of whole bunch of 2D games, and I think I've talked about a couple of these before. Minute Dungeon
Mm-hmm.
and Minute Frontier are two that I played in the past, and then I started playing another one which is called Devil Works Project. This is kind of a it's kind of like Dungeon Keeper, but very simplified. You just have a tower, and you add floors to the tower, and you can populate each floor of the tower with a monster, and then you can assign those monsters to go and attack a village, and you can kill heroes as they come to try to get into your tower to get their treasure, and it's kind of just a little click time waster. There's not really an end game to it. It's just a try to hatch and evolve all the possible monsters in the game, and kill enough. I don't know what it is, but there's like this little death counter, and if you the higher it gets, the more variety of heroes show up, and so you just gotta get as many, find all the hatch and evolve all the monsters, and get through all the heroes, and I guess that's the quote end game. And the other game is called Slime Climbing or Slime Climb,
I like the
and yeah, it's you play as a slime, and you have to climb up this tower. I don't know how many floors there are. I got up to the 57th floor, and you there's spike traps and like heroes and monsters that you have to avoid, and it's actually a really fun game. I'm surprised that this is the one I'm having out of all the games of his that I've played, I'm having the most fun playing this one. So it's actually pretty cool. So but I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is a little bit. It's got a lot of glare. You just got three
yeah.
buttons, left and right and jump, and you just have to get over the get through all the obstacles. I would love to see. This one most likely has an end game because each floor is looks to be well designed, and they're all really fun to play, and each one is a challenge. Once you find the right rhythm to certain things, or find that right path, you can breeze through a lot of the floors. But there's all kinds of things like moving platforms, rotating spike traps, a whole bunch of things that you can do. So, and like I said, you move left and right and jump, and then you can cling to the wall and slowly slide down it. So those are all your move sets.
Hmm.
So, and each of those is used very cleverly. So,
Hmm.
yeah, if any of you guys want to play it, just Slime Climb, and it's free. It's got ads. No microtransactions as far as I could tell. None of the games from this developer have microtransactions. They're just all it's all ad based. I don't know how much money this guy's making, but he's got several. Some of the games have several 100,000 downloads. So
Hmm. Hmm.
apparently he's making enough to keep making games. So
Sometimes it's all you can ask for.
mm-hmm. Yep.
So, did you watch Nintendo's Fire Emblem Direct this week?
No, I did not. I haven't even watched any of the trailers for any of the games. Um, but I did read about the game, some of the games they were announcing. Looks like they're announcing basically a new game on every platform, Switch, 3DS, and mobile.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Yeah,
there's a new Fire Emblem game coming out for the Switch someday. I think they said
yeah,
2018, but it's not even an official name yet. It's just we're going to have a dedicated console Fire Emblem game, and it's like the first one since God, what was the Wii one? Like Path of Radiance or something.
something like
Um,
that. Yeah,
so didn't really have much to say about that, but they're like, that's coming. Then, of course, they talked a little bit about Fire Emblem Warriors, which they teased on the Switch event last week. And on the Direct, they teased it a little bit more, showed a couple seconds of in-game footage of basically Crom, I guess, just
yeah,
whacking a crowd of 20, 30 people and just knocking them flying. I'm like, that's a Warriors game. I was a little disappointed that it looked really, really muddy.
yeah,
Um, not like as in he was traipsing through the mud, but I mean just visually it looked muddy. And I
yeah,
was like, oh man, I hope that's the stream because that's not looking really great. Um, and interestingly, Fire Emblem Warriors will be a Switch and a 3DS game, or rather,
oh,
a Switch and a new 3DS game.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and Hyrule Warriors came out on both, or on the Wii
uh,
U
well,
and the
Hyrule
3DS.
Warriors a year later, came out on the I'm sorry, well, both 3DS and new 3DS as Hyrule Warriors Legends runs like absolute garbage on the old 3DS, and you still really don't want to play it on the new 3DS. So that's just it's
Yeah.
like the Switch is portable, guys. I don't know what the point unless they don't have a lot of faith. I'm not sure.
No,
It seems an
I
odd
think what
decision.
it is they know they have a console market and they have a handheld market, but I think to Nintendo they don't see a lot of people replacing the 3DS with the Switch, or at least
Well, it's not
to a
as
ratio
conveniently
as those.
portable. Yeah.
Yeah, they see a lot more people going from the Wii U to the Switch, or from other consoles to the Switch, rather than from handheld to a Switch. So they want to keep their 50, 60 million 3DS customers happy.
Well, sure, but there are some games that even on the new 3DS just kind of don't belong on the new 3DS. And I think Hyrule Warriors Legends, and we haven't seen it yet, but I would venture a guess that probably Fire Emblem Warriors 2, the shortcuts and cutbacks that they have to make in order to get that game to run and be playable on the 3DS handheld is like kind of ruins the whole enjoyable thing of the game in the first place, you know, for me anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing about the Warriors games is you have dozens of people on the screen, these armies that you're just single-handedly taking on. It makes you feel like a complete badass. It's wonderful. But on the handheld, at least the 3DS handheld, there's like
yeah.
10,
You can't
maybe up to
generate as
20
many
guys. Yeah,
characters.
you
Yeah,
just don't have as many people. It doesn't feel the same. I'm not sure why anyone would want to do that. I mean, if it's the only console you own, it's the only one you will own. I guess something's better than nothing, but it just seems kind of like an odd choice.
yeah,
So anyway, Fire Emblem Warriors, which I don't really care about Fire Emblem. I never have, so I don't have any connection with the characters. But then again, that didn't stop me from enjoying Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this one anyway.
yeah,
Uh, so
yeah,
another, so the next game that they announced was a remake. In the sense that Final Fantasy VII remake is a remake of Final Fantasy, you know, just complete
yeah,
remake of the second Fire Emblem game, which never came out in America anyway, so it may as well
yeah.
just be a brand new game to us. I think they're calling it Fire Emblem Heroes, which is kind of confusing because you have
No,
Hyrule Warriors.
Fire Emblem Heroes is the mobile game.
Is it?
Yeah.
Shoot. Which one is the remake? Is it Fire Emblem Gaiden?
Fire
Or no, that
Emblem
was oh crap.
remake.
Yeah, you're
Let's
right. It's
see.
Fire Emblem Heroes Shadow of
Shadow
Dragon.
Dragon
Or
or
Shadow of the Dragon. Even
yeah.
though that the logo has the subtitle and the echoes on the opposite side, so it doesn't read the way it's written. It's weird.
Yeah. It's yeah. But the original one is Fire Emblem Gaiden. That's the one that they're
Yeah.
remaking.
Are they still using that name, or are they calling it something else?
They're calling it something. Golly, it's like the I don't know.
Who cares? So the
Yeah. Who
so
cares?
we're gonna get a remake of the old of the second game in the series, I think, that never came out in America. So that's neat. And I think
Shadows
that
of Valentia.
okay, so and I
Maybe
think that's a 3DS game, if I'm remembering correctly. I think that's just 3DS.
something like that. Maybe.
Okay. So then they announced the mobile game, and they really went into detail with the
Yeah,
mobile
that's
game. And
yeah. The Shadows of Valencia is the 3DS game.
now
So yeah.
the Echoes Shadow of Dragon or Dragon Shadow of
Oh,
Echo.
the dragon one was actually an older title
Okay, the
that
mobile
that
game.
was remade for the DS. The yeah, Fire Emblem
All right.
Heroes is the mobile game.
Failing here. Okay,
Seriously,
which
people,
is
we follow these stories, but since Nintendo announced like 20 Fire Emblem games, it's hard to keep them all
yeah,
straight.
and I didn't write them down, and I was busy today. I'm actually working on another video to test a new lighting solution I have. So, if you want to see, uh, eh, see that silver thing? That's a light. There's also one on the opposite side of my stripper pole. Um, so hopefully the lighting will be a lot better in my videos from now on. So I wrote a video today. I'm still writing it, in fact, to do a camera test later tonight. Anyway, so the mobile game, it looks like Nintendo. Now this was probably planned in the first place, but a lot of people seem to be irritated by the fact that Super Mario Run, their last mobile game, has the gall to offer three levels for free and then say, hey, the game costs $10, flat fee. Rest of the game is yours. We will never
Yeah,
bother you with ads or microtransactions again. Apparently, that really irritated people, and people would much rather have a game that's free that you can spend hundreds of dollars in microtransactions on. Apparently, there's a
apparently,
lot of
yeah.
mobile gamers who would much prefer that. I can't relate. I guess I'm
No,
just not a
neither can
mobile
I.
gamer. Personally, I'm like $10 for the game. We're done. I'm done. Good. Yeah, but Fire Emblem Echoes, whatever that's called, the mobile game
Heroes. Yeah.
is yeah, Heroes. I don't know why I keep saying Echoes.
Well, Echoes it's Fire
Is the other one
the
Echoes?
3DS
Ah,
one is Fire
God.
Emblem Echoes, and then the
See,
rest
because
of
I
it.
hear Heroes and then I think it's a Warriors game because the Dragon Quest Warriors game is actually called Dragon Quest Heroes, but the Fire Emblem Heroes is not the Warriors game. That one is Fire Emblem Warriors. I should have written this
At least
down.
it's not Project Octopath Traveler.
But that's a great name. I
Yes,
love
that is.
Project Octopath Travel, and I hope it keeps the name. Bravely
Uh,
default. Okay, so in this game, it's basic Fire Emblem, but you can earn orbs, which you can cash in to uh, get new characters through kind of like a blind drawing. So if you
yeah.
spend 5 orbs, it's like, oh, I got someone lame. Damn it, another 5 orbs. Someone lame. Darn it. But now you only have to spend 4 orbs. So it's worth it to keep going, right? And so the more you spend in one session, the less and less orbs down to I think you can only get down to 3, but so
Huh.
if you keep betting that you're going to cash in an orbs and get a cool character to use in the game, it costs you less and less. And
Yeah.
but then they showed the screen with how much the orbs cost. Now you can earn them in game, but the one screen they showed says you have earned one orb, and it's like, but then you can certainly pay $135 for 100 orbs or what. Well, it's not that much. I think the highest one was like $80 or some weird thing for 100 orbs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, who is going to do that? $80.
A lot of people do. It's
I
surprising.
wouldn't pay $80 for a single video game. Not Yakuza, not nothing.
It is surprising. They
$10? How dare you charge me $10 for the entire game? I would rather you try and bilk me until I've spent like 300 on it.
Yeah, but there are what's
Silly
called
people.
whales out there. These are the high spenders in mobile
Yeah.
games, and these are people that spend thousands of dollars over the life of the game, that at least while they play it, and they invest a lot of time. And
But Mr. and Mrs. Whale, wouldn't it be better just to pay a flat fee of $10 and have access to all of the content in the entire game? It isn't that better? Isn't that more preferable? No, I okay. I'm still gonna download. Oh, did we lose Zachary? We lost Zachary. Zachary, come back to us. Oh no. Well, I'm sure he'll be back momentarily. Um, I will download Fire Emblem Echoes, Heroes, whichever one is the mobile game. Yeah, just to give it a try. Certainly, I'm not going to spend a dime on it. But okay, he dropped out, so he's probably rebooting. Zachary will return. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how it of a franchise Fire Emblem is now. And is Zachary back on? His picture's there, but I don't hear him. I don't have video. Come back to us, Zachary. Come back to us. I can't talk about Fire Emblem by myself. Jordan Thompson earlier said, "Guess I just can't. Guess Andrew just can't get enough of throwing people off roofs." Referring to Yakuza, and it's like that's not how I was playing last night. If you want to see how I was playing last night, check my Twitter feed. I am so immature. Hawk says almost at 10K, Andrew. Oh, YouTube subscribers, really? Oh man, that happened faster than I thought it would be. Uh, I should probably do something special for 10K, but I don't have anything planned. I had one thing planned, but it's like logistically impossible for me to do right now. So I'll try to think of something else. Are you back?
am I back? Can you hear me?
Yep. Oh
Okay.
man. Wilson informs me that I have 9,946 subscribers. I'm 54 short of 10K. And I was thinking I would do a 10K celebration, and I had this really grandiose idea, but then I realized that it's like logistically impossible for me to pull off. I just don't have the resources for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going. Stop subscribing to my channel. Give me time to think, time to think of something. Although I'm sure the 8 people who are watching are probably subscribed. What is Scotty asks? What's on my stripper pole? A bunch of plushies, stuffed animals. Just that's my stuffed animal collection. There we go. Yeah, just all kinds of stuffed animals. Basically, it's just a wooden dowel that I have braced against the floor and ceiling, and I drilled a bunch of hooks into, and it's just a place to store all my stuffed animals. And I like them there better than in a in a box or something. If I had the space, I would display all of my toys because I have all kinds of action figures like Transformers and He-Man and Mask and Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. And if I had the space and the shelving, I'd just display all this stuff. Oh, it'd be so cool. But the stuffed toys was was pretty easy.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
something actually my mom came up with when I was really young, and I just duplicated it when I moved in here. So while you were gone, I said I'd download Fire Emblem Mobile, whichever one that is, and just putz around with it, see if it grabs me, see what I think. You gonna download it and give it a run?
Yeah, I went ahead and I quote pre-ordered it through Google Play.
I think it's like February 2nd, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe the third, I think.
Third? Okay.
But yeah, it's so not too long, just a week or two away, well, about 2 weeks away, and so yeah, nope, the web's the second. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna download it. I've never played a Fire Emblem game, but I have played Advanced Wars and Shining Force, so.
Mhm.
I have very similar gameplay, I guess, from what I understand. So I'll definitely get download it and play it. So
Well, I'm actually I'm very happy for Fire Emblem fans because they've hit the jackpot.
oh yeah,
They're getting so much love. Um, Metroid fans, F-Zero fans, middle fingers to both of you. Nintendo
yeah,
doesn't care about you at all.
yeah.
In fact, Nintendo hates you. Uh, it's like,
Uh,
what? You got Federation Force? What are you complaining about?
yeah, you got Captain Falcon and Smash Brothers. You don't need anything else.
Oh, go play Fast Racing Neo and leave me alone.
Yeah,
Hey, 13 YouTube. So, I guess that's enough about Fire Emblem because I'm just not a fan and I don't care. I'm kind of interested in Warriors because I like the Warriors games. I'm a little concerned with how muddy it was looking, but I actually there's the Dragon Quest Warrior. It's actually called Dragon Quest Heroes,
yeah,
1 and 2 bundle, which we hope comes to North America.
that would
So
be nice.
I saw a stream of it, and they only demoed like a lobby area and then a boss fight. So I didn't get a sense of how the Switch is running in, full armies are coming at you. So I don't know if it's like displaying the same number of enemy units as the PS4 does. I don't know if it runs as well as the PS4
Yeah,
does, but it was very clear that the Switch is noticeably graphically inferior to the PS4, both in model complexity, number of polygons used in the architecture and
hmm
character models, and particle effects, texture work. Sad to see, and not really surprising, but not but
hmm
sad to see. So, I'm thinking if the game comes out in North America, which version would I get? Would I get it on the Switch or would I get the two on PS4? I mean, the PS4 obviously looks better, and let's just say, for sake of argument, that the Switch version runs fine. There's a perfectly fine number of enemy units on the screen. It runs silky smooth. All that's fine. It just doesn't look quite as sharp as the PS4 version. So I guess in a lot of ways it would come down to price. The it comes out in here. Two comes out in I think April. The first one you can get for like $20 right now. Second one is probably 50 or 60. So that's $80. If 1 and 2 comes out here and it's only $50, maybe it's worth getting the Switch version. Also, Square Enix announced just recently, I just saw this story like an hour ago, that the Switch version will have unique features such as all the lessons they've learned from the first one and implemented in the second one will be re-implemented in the first one. There'll be some gameplay rebalancing, but they're also going to use the HD Rumble feature so that you can feel the enemies that you smack with your weapon. So when you smack a slime with your sword, it gives a very jelly-like rumble. But if you hit a metal slime, it'll go bonk. So you'll be able to feel what you're smacking with your sword. I'm like, well, that could be cool or it could be really irritating. I'm really not
yeah,
sure. But um so even if the Switch version is visually inferior to the PS4 version, it might be worth picking up the Switch version just for price reasons, convenience reasons, and also new little bells and whistles that they're adding to
Yeah.
the Switch version. So impossible to say at this point.
Hmm.
Oh, and Scotty Jamin says amiibo support. I don't know if they're going to release any Dragon Quest amiibo, but
That would be cool.
I'm pretty sure they'll do all 700 and whatever Pokemon before they do any of the Dragon Quest monsters. But
Yeah.
if you could, Wilson says, if you could feel the texture of the flesh your sword is cutting through, that would be unsettling. It's like, yeah, but it's slides. Yeah, huh. Can you imagine HD if that really works? Like HD Rumble used in a game like Manhunt. Be like,
Oh,
you're like,
God.
oh no, it feels all gooey. I need to wash my hands after playing this game.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, although the developer, producer, whoever it is of Senran Kagura, which is basically a fighting game, but it's really known for its overly busty and scantily clad cast of like high school girls. Said that he's like, I'm really looking forward to the HD Rumble because I'm gonna make grabbing boobs feel really good with the HD Rumble. I'm like, you are a lovely human being.
Oh, goodness.
Nintendo's like, no, don't do that. Damn it, no, a glass full of ice. That's what it's for. A glass full of ice, not grabbing someone's boobs.
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
So there's that. But there've been some interesting tidbits coming out about the Switch this week, and let me see if I can find it because I actually did bring these up. So here we are. So Nintendo said, and this was actually translated from Japanese into, I think, Portuguese and then back to English. So take it with a grain of salt. But producer Eiji Onuma said it would be possible to change the language of the Switch console itself, which will change the language used in Breath of the Wild's menus and game text. And he says,
Yeah.
in the case of the Nintendo Switch, if you change the language of the system, you can change the game to Japanese, but that will change everything to Japanese. So text and button icons and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it's not possible to play with English text, for example, and Japanese voices. So what this sounds like, what I'm gathering from this quote, is that the game card for Zelda Breath of the Wild is the same card in both territories, maybe with a different cover art or sticker, but it's the same card. It just depends on what language or what region your console, your account is set up for as to which version of the game it plays. So if it reads your console and says, oh, Japanese, it'll play with Japanese dialogue and text. And it says, oh, English dialogue and text. What that tells me is both languages are on the card, yet there's no option for dual audio.
Yeah.
That is weird to me.
Yeah, it is very weird. You would think that they would provide better audio and text options, because there are a lot of people that like to play with the original language audio with English subtitles. But yeah, you would think they would allow for that. But I could see why. I guess I could see technically why they would restrict that, because it's easier to just flip the entire language script, or write a script to just flip the entire language rather than having to deal with lining up the Japanese audio with English subtitles, making sure that they're timed correctly. But
it's usually normally the way these things work is it's already pre-timed, because when it does in one language, and then when it does in the other language, it just fills in the same timeline and same number of text bubbles. So that's usually not a problem. So it seems to me like it would take some doing, but it doesn't strike me as something that would be terribly time consuming or resource intensive for Nintendo to add an audio switching option to the game, since both audio tracks
Are in there. Yeah.
are on that disc from what I'm reading. For example, Xenoblade Chronicles X, from what I read, the English version only has the English audio on it, but from what I understand, they literally could not fit both dialogue tracks on the disc. There wasn't enough room for both. So
Yeah.
for the American version, they put the English track on there. Not how I prefer to play it, but I understand that. But if both audio tracks are on the damned disc, it seems silly that you wouldn't give gamers the option to pick the one that they'd prefer.
Yeah.
But Wilson says a firmware update might allow it later on if we complain enough. And that's true. Now, there was another thing I read, and did I actually pull this one up? Or no, I didn't, because I think that's the wrong one. Yeah, that's the differences between the Wii U and Switch version of Breath in the Wild. Nintendo says they're exactly the same, except the Switch version is 900p and the Wii U is 720p. And the Switch version has higher quality environmental sounds, such as footsteps, water, grass, etc. Okay. I've noticed that the lighting is different in the Switch version, in the sense that it's gone. I actually saw someone play through the opening, the Cave of Resurrection or whatever, the very first area in Switch, and I was looking at him like, they turned off the lighting, all the ambient, and in the Switch version back in, I'm sorry, the Wii U version back at E3, there was this blue glow to that room that reflected off of Link and made him kind of glow blue also, and all the orange and blue lights on the columns and that pedestal where the tablet thing is sitting had this really bright glow to it. That's all gone in the Switch version. Now that may mean that they haven't turned it on in the Switch version yet, or they just decided they didn't like it. But man, in that scene anyway, the lighting is flat to the point where Link doesn't even look like he belongs in the scene, because he's like, the model is like lit with normal light in a room that doesn't have normal light. I much prefer the Wii U lighting, but again, we're 6 weeks out from launch. We'll see how it turns out. But Nintendo does say the games are exactly. They may have just turned all that crap off, said, it's too bright, too much, turn it off, and it's like that in the Wii U version too. So hard to say.
Maybe.
The other thing that we learned this week, and I don't have the quote, and I apologize for that, is it appears that we will indeed be able to access other territories' digital storefronts, the eShops from other territories, simply by switching accounts. So you will be able to have multiple accounts on your or profiles on your Switch. And it sounds like Nintendo didn't directly confirm this, but what it sounds like is each of your profiles on the Switch you can set up for a specific territory. So you can get to, for example, Japan's eShop, but you're going to have to set up a Japanese account on your Switch in order to do it.
And everything's going to be in Japanese, and
well, obviously, and that's fine. But so while that wouldn't exactly be ideal, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I would guess, someone asked me, said, do you think that if you create a second account, a Japanese account, and buy something from the Japanese eShop, will you be able to then play it on your English account? I would guess probably not, because that would also be ideal.
Yeah.
But so I would guess no. Because Nintendo seems to be about, let's do it in a more cumbersome way. Voice chat, matchmaking, lobby stuff, let's do that on a mobile app. Wait, what? So
yeah,
I don't see, it's like, I'm like this, doing this on my Switch, and now I've got to fish my phone out of my pocket and do stuff on my phone. why is that more convenient? I'm getting the sense that the Switch is literally not powerful enough to do online uh, matchmaking and voice chat and stuff
Yeah,
while it's
that's what
running games
I'm getting
portably.
too, and which is kind of sad. You would think they would be able to handle more
Well,
than two processes at
it may
once.
just be a concern for portable mode. Uh,
Maybe.
it just completely saps the battery or something. It's like, yeah, we could do all the online lobby and matchmaking and voice chat and stuff, but then the battery would only last 2 hours instead of three. Impossible to say at this point. And again, we don't know anything about how this mobile app thing is going to work because Nintendo
Yeah.
hasn't deemed it
They,
necessary to tell
to
us.
tell us. Yeah,
But it
exactly.
sounds clunky and cumbersome. Maybe it will set the standard for how this is done from now on. Who knows? I mean, it may be great. Nintendo is sometimes will sneak up and bite you in the butt with like the best idea ever. But this doesn't sound like one of them. This sounds like a clunky pain in the rear. We'll see. We'll see. But
Yeah.
it's just an odd choice. I was gonna do. I was kind of brainstorming a video for like top five, top 10, whatever, top X WTF Switch moments or something. And I was thinking things like both language tracks are on the game card, but you don't have the option to listen to the other one. What? um, stuff like and stuff like this, like but I found out that most of my what ended up being the Pro Control is $70. Huh? The dock is $90. What? The Joy-Con's 50. What? 80 for two. No. Yeah. So it ended up being mostly complaining about pricing. So I was like,
Yeah. Well, that's what my article turned out to be, was just to the bulk of the article was, where are all the games and why the crap is everything so freaking expensive?
yeah. 13U Cube says Nintendo's philosophy is the path of most resistance. Scotty also clarifies, because I may have muddled this, that they're saying Switch will allow 8 accounts, and each account is linked to eShop country of choice. So, in a sense, that's not only is the system region free, but it's region free. You can get to the other digital storefronts too. So you don't even have to import the games. If they're available digitally, just make an account for that country. Ostensibly, of course, we don't know for certain, but it sounds like we'll be able to make accounts for each country to buy digital games in any country we like, which is great. And it's certainly a step in the right direction.
Certainly, yeah. I just hope that it would be nice if all of those games were accessible to all accounts, which is something we don't know yet. So
Right.
you could log into your Japanese account to buy that copy of Mother 1, and then log back into your English account and play Mother 1.
Right.
So
I would guess
that would
no,
be
because
nice.
that would be too cool, but we'll see. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
One of the other news items, or I guess technically non-news, is that Kotaku did an interview with somebody from Nintendo of America, and just to ask some questions about various things to do with the Switch, and I don't remember how many questions they asked, but they asked a good like 20 questions, and about
at least half of them
at
were.
least half, probably near 2/3 of them were no comment. Pretty much everything had to do. All the no comments had to do with the Virtual Console and eShops. It's like because one of the things is, with going from the Wii to the Wii U, you basically lost access to all of your Wii Virtual Console purchases unless you transferred your data to the Wii U, and the same thing going from the DS to the 3DS. So people are wondering if Nintendo's actually going to wise up and let us link our Wii U eShop purchases to the Switch and give us free copies of all of those games that we have already purchased. And so far, Nintendo basically says no comment on
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. Man, it would really be nice if Nintendo I wouldn't go so far as to call it an ambassadors program or anything, but if
Yeah,
Nintendo rewarded their loyal Nintendo fanboys and girls who bought a Wii U and bought a bunch of stuff and gave them credit for that. For I mean, example, if you spent $60 on Mario Kart 8 and another $20 on the DLC, it seems really unfair to ask that person to pay a further $60 for the battle mode that should have been in the game in the first place.
yeah.
And three, four new characters and carts and stuff. Apparently, no new tracks. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, from what I hear, is just Mario Kart 8 plus DLC with proper battle mode.
I thought they were throwing a couple of tracks in there.
They're all battle mode courses.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, here's this article or this interview. Okay, they ask if the Switch is backwards compatible. Nintendo says no, it's not. Okay.
In
And
the sense that you can't put a GameCube, Wii, or Wii U disc into the Switch and
or
expect it to
3DS
play,
game, yeah.
or 3DS carts or
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah, and it's also not going to support Wii U or Wii or Wii controllers. You're not going to be able to take your current classic controller Pro and plug it into the Switch and be able to play with it. You have to get the Switch Pro controller. Okay, so here's a sample of questions that got no comment. Does the Switch connect to Wii U and 3DS owners' existing accounts? No comment. Will the Switch be compatible with existing Virtual Console purchases? No comment. Will the Switch have its own library of Virtual Console games that starts from scratch, or will it bring over the Virtual Console from the 3DS and Wii U? No comment. How will SNES online functionality work? Which games will it support? No comment. Is there a trophy or achievement systems? No comment. And then a bunch of questions that they answer. Right now, there's no Netflix or other video services on there.
Yeah, and that might seem like really, but at this point, who cares? I mean, that's kind of like the the Wii U being able to play DVD movies.
Yeah,
Who cares? You know, by the time Nintendo finally does those things, no one cares anymore.
yeah. Well, it's like you got a million things in your house already that can play Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime Video. It's like I've got a PS3, a 360, a Wii, a Roku, and my computer. So 5 things that I can watch online videos with. I don't really need the Switch to be able to watch online. Well, and my mobile phone. So that's 6 things. So yeah, I don't need the Switch to play online video. But if that's their only television connected device, then it would be nice to have those things. But,
True. But of course, a lot of TVs today are smart TVs, and I mean, even
that could
though
get easily hacked.
I suppose, but I mean, I can just I actually have a button for Netflix on my television remote, so I can just. I don't actually have Netflix, but if I did, I could watch it on the TV. I wouldn't watch it through the Wii U or anything because that would just be an extra step. It would be cumbersome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, not a whole heck of a lot of news this week. We're little bits and pieces. You know, we had the big blowout last week, and so it's just been kind of bits and pieces. Although you did have a survey that you brought to my attention.
This was something something that came out this week. Quantic Foundry. Don't know a lot about this group, but they released the results of one of their surveys that says Just read the opening here. It says, "You've probably heard the often quoted statistic that about half of video gamers are women, illustrating how gaming is now a mainstream activity enjoyed by both men and women. This finding comes from the yearly ESA report and has fluctuated between 38% and 48% in the past decade, currently estimated at 41% in the 2016 report." And they go on to say that oddly, this statistic can have the exact opposite intended effect. Some gamers argue that the study bundles gamers across platforms and genres and is thus unrepresentative of the real PC console gamers, or the apparent gender parity means there are no longer gender biases in game design. Uh, a game dev we recently chatted with mentioned that some designers she works with still assume that only 5% of core gamers are women and that the quoted 41% are primarily casual gamers. So they decided they did their own survey, and through the gamer motivation profile, they you could take people could take the 5-minute survey and get a report on gaming motivations. And so they looked at 270,000 gamers worldwide and all these measurements. And they looked at genres and specific games and what drives people to play. And for women, they are the majority of players in Match 3 and Family and Farm Sims. So Match 3 gets 69% and Family Farm Sims get 69% women in playing those games. And then the other 21% or 31% are men. And then it starts going down really quick from there, with casual puzzles and atmospheric exploration being just a little under half of those gamers. And it keeps on going down. And when you get to sports, first person shooters and tactical shooters and racing and all that stuff, there are hardly any of them, under 10% there. So some of their points, matched. So let's see. The variance in female gamer percentage across genres is large. They say the genre average range from 2% to 70%. This is a 35-fold difference and illustrates why an overall statistic for all gamers, ignoring genre, can be misleading and confusing. They say that World of Warcraft is an outlier among high fantasy MMOs. For fantasy MMOs or high fantasy, the average is 36%, but World of Warcraft is way lower at 23%. Players are women.
That game is still boring.
Yeah, and women tend to like fantasy MMOs over sci-fi MMOs, but Star Wars: The Old Republic is another outlier where more women like Star Wars: The Old Republic over other sci-fi MMOs, and Assassin's Creed and Dragon Age are in those genres. Women play those games more than other games in those genres. So lots of cool things. And then they talk about motivation differences, and this is what I find really interesting. It says, in a previous blog post, we compared the primary motivation of male versus female gamers. Much of those differences seem to underlie the current genre findings. For example, genres with more women emphasize completion and fantasy, and genres for men emphasize competition and destruction. So guys like to blow things up and do better than each other, and women like to collect things and play and live in a fantasy world, or play in a fantasy
play
world.
like a girl.
Yeah, I was looking at that myself. I'm like, yeah, I fall into that category as well.
Yeah, right. I don't want to compete with anyone but myself. That's who I play against.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, some of my now I love shooty games and I love blowing stuff up and I like throwing people off roofs, the Yakuza games. But I'll tell you, some things that I really love, and I've talked about this before. Some of the things I really love about games is when they allow you to build and fix stuff. Like I love in Okami, the game with the dog and the paintbrush, where you circle the dead tree with your brush and it bursts into flowers and the color returns to the land. I'm like, yay, the color returned to the land and there's flowers and trees everywhere. It's great. I love in Xenoblade Chronicles where you are constantly working to rebuild colony 9 or 13 or whatever it is, and
Uh-huh.
you're constantly bringing back resources, and you see the town improve and grow and more people move in and help. I love that stuff. Building your base in Skies of Arcadia, you're constantly
Yeah.
bringing in new people and building new buildings. And there's one of the Tales games I played. There's a town that gets completely decimated. Like at the beginning and throughout the game, you donate more funds to help build the town up to its former glory. I love stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I also like Blast Corps, where you drive a dump truck through buildings. So, I'm a pretty eclectic gamer.
Yeah. And it was, yeah, I'm with you too. It's like Breath of Fire. Each series in Breath of Fire games has some kind of town building aspect to it. At least I think all of them do. But so I always found that part fun, is
Mhm.
building that town, populating it with the characters that I like. But yeah, another game, ActRaiser, was always fun. The original
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
because that was a half side-scrolling fantasy
That one is a weird
brawler,
game.
and then the other half a city building sim. It's really cool. I liked it.
That's not on the
Um,
NES Classic Edition, is it?
no, that's
ActRaiser?
a Super Nintendo game.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But it should be on the Super NES Classic
Yes,
Edition.
it definitely should be a super. That was one that I put on
Yeah,
my
I think I did
recommended
too.
30 games.
Yeah.
Um, but one other point that I want to from this study is that
Hmm.
the talking about the opportunity space,
Hmm.
because you don't want to get into the trappings of like, oh, only 6% of first person shooter players are women, so it's a primarily male dominated game or genre, so let's just keep focusing on that. They use it as an example, Dragon Age in the high fantasy RPG. It says the data hints that at how none of these numbers are set in stone or represent some kind of hard ceiling. Note that variations within the same genre can be much larger than variations between genres. For example, Dragon Age Inquisition has double the genre average, so 48% for Dragon Age, and then 26% for the average of the entire high fantasy RPG genre or Western RPG genre. It says, in fact, this 48% is higher than the next 5 genre averages. This means that the opportunity to attract female gamers may be a lot larger than what the chart is showing. So within these specific genres, you can say, okay, if I want to attract more women gamers to my game, you can look at these specific games that have high percentages of women and say, okay, what are they doing that all these other games in this genre are not doing, and in order to attract those women players. So
Right. I think the way to look at it is not as zero sum. If you've got
yeah,
a genre, and if you're working on a game in a genre, and you say, okay, well, this chart shows that for this genre, 80% of the players are men and 20% are women. If we tried to get 10% more women, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to lose 10% of the men who play this game. That means we're going to get 10% more people playing the game,
yeah.
which is valuable.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. You're not going to say, if I'm increasing my female player base from 26% to 48%, that doesn't mean you're kicking out 22% of your players, like kicking out 22% of
right,
male players and replacing with female. You're increasing the size of your player base. So
right.
so
Yeah. So I think appealing to the broadest group possible is always a good idea. Now, I mean
yeah.
that doesn't mean you can't make niche games that appeal to a select group of people. That's totally fine too. You just have to understand that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Uh,
And they even make some simple recommendations on what to improve. It says it's also easy to read the genres in the chart and pin the cause solely on gender differences in gaming motivations. For example, women simply don't like X or Y game mechanic. But there may be a lot more going on. For example, games on the bottom of the chart tend to not have female protagonists.
mhm.
So adding a female protagonist to your game could increase the percentage of women that play. They say that they tend to involve playing with strangers online. Maybe it change up how you do online and make it easier to play with friends or easier to avoid just playing online entirely. They tend to have a lot of rapid 3D movement, which can lead to motion sickness. Women are, and they put in parentheses, women are more susceptible to motion sickness.
Really?
And they link to, let's see, they link to the NIH, National Institute for Health, or
Mhm.
study, National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health. They link to a study there, so they're not just throwing stuff out. So low female gamer participation in certain genres may be a historical artifact of how motivations and presentations have been bundled together and marketed. So a lot of these things are just stuff that these genres have done for decades, and so changing the way you're doing it might help.
Yeah.
So
So, all right. Okay. Well, any last topics we want to cover before we get out of here?
I don't have anything else.
I'm starving to death. And 13U Cube is grousing, and rightfully so, that the NES Classic Edition, which we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is still sold out everywhere.
Well, I don't even know if they've replaced stock. That's how bad it is. It's like, okay, did they even ship out more of these things after December?
The Nintendo only made 200,000 NES Classic editions, and then immediately switched over to manufacturing Switch units, so that there would be like lots and lots of Switch units for launch on March 3rd, so anyone anywhere can just walk on into whatever retailer they want and buy one.
Yeah.
Sure. That's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would still love to get an NES Classic, but yeah, they're just nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's like the video.
well, except on Craigslist, I can find them for
and
$200 there.
But it's like the video I'm working on now. The will I buy a Switch at launch? It's like, well, it depends. Will it be available to buy at launch? Will I be able to go to the store and get one? If not, no. Because I'm not going to pre-order one, and I'm not going to stand outside a store before it opens. You know, like line up at 6 in the morning, 4 in the morning, overnight, whatever. You know, if I can't walk into GameStop or Walmart or Fry's or whatever and buy one on March 3rd, then I'm not going to have one on March 3rd. But
13U Cube, if Andrew's the video of laying out the money of what he would spend on games that Nintendo wasn't releasing didn't reach Nintendo, at least not for 2-3 years, whatever it was after that video released, your video is probably not going to get there either.
Well, the Rainfall games did eventually end up on the Wii, so
yeah, but it was probably 2 years after you released your video or something like that.
They took a while,
yeah. But and your video went pretty viral there when it first.
Well, I mean, it's like 150,000 views or something.
Well, it reached Kotaku.
Yeah, Kotaku hosted it. IGN hosted it, and that was like my first video too. So, then I just made it on the mark. I was like, oh look, I have a camera built into my work laptop. I could whine about video games on the internet like everyone else. So I did, and I went, well, that was fun. And then I went to sleep, and I got up, and I had like 300 emails. Like, hell? And all of them were, you have a subscriber, because you can get notified for each subscriber. So I turned that off. And then I looked, and I had like 17,000 views. And it's like, I'm a nobody. How did anyone even find this? I didn't even send a link to my mom.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah,
thir-
Reggie doesn't hear us.
yeah,
Sorry, 13U Cube says he's sick of hearing Reggie say, "We hear you."
it's not just Reggie. Nintendo is constantly saying. I think
Yeah,
someone else was saying that we're actually listening. We're
yeah.
ignoring you and doing whatever the hell we want anyway, but we are listening.
Yeah, every time he says that, I just always look back at Reggie's Twitter day where he was going, tweet with Reggie or whatever it was, and Reggie was supposed to be on Twitter and tweeting all day long, and he ended up tweeting 8 times. Two of them
Oh,
were
what a
essentially the same
waste.
tweet, and so Operation Rainfall took over his Twitter hashtag, and so if you ever search that specific hashtag,
The
every single
Reginator.
tweet was from someone supporting Operation Rainfall, and then Reggie's 8 tweets.
I try not to blame Reggie too much. I have a feeling that he's mostly just completely hamstrung by NCL. Um, I don't have any
Probably,
proof
yeah.
of that, of course, but that would be my guess. And I do wish Nintendo shareholders weren't such putzes. Because every time Nintendo announces anything, whether it's cool or not, whether it's popular or not, their stock tanks. They're like, we're doing a mobile game. Screw you. We are launching the Switch. Screw you. Zelda. Screw you. It's like, what do you want? And of course, you get guys. I'll never forget the. I say I'll never forget, but I don't remember that well. But there was one investor conference where there was like one shareholder who's like, "Oh yeah, what are you always talking about video games and stuff?" And why? What's the? It's like, do you not know what Nintendo is? You bought lots of money worth of stock in Nintendo, and you don't know what it is, dumbass.
Yeah.
Weirdo. Anyway, the IC says they want the Nintendo Playbox 5. Yeah. Yeah, you have to wonder what announcement would make shareholders just go squee. Would it
Um,
be entirely mobile? Nintendo going third party?
it would be
I don't
Nintendo
know.
selling its company, and they're like, "Woohoo!" And then they go on a selling frenzy, and the stock triples in price overnight.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's not going to happen, especially with all the things that they're dabbling in right now, like the Universal Studios Park and
Yeah. Yeah, Nintendo's never not going to sell. I don't think they would ever sell, and I
well,
think they're pretty well insulated from a hostile takeover too. So,
mm,
yeah,
and they have enough uh, assets to weather a couple more failures like the Wii U, so it's
yeah,
not really that big a deal. Scotty Jamin
yeah.
says NES games on mobile. It's like, okay, but gotta add some microtransactions to Mario next time because people get pissed off if you just put a flat
No,
fee on it.
I think what would do really well is if they released an NES Virtual Console on mobile devices, and then you just buy the games like you do on the Wii or on the 3DS Wii U Switch eShops.
A lot of
Yeah,
people are also advocating for a Netflix style virtual
a Virtual
console.
Console. Yeah, yeah, I saw that where you,
$20 subscription to just play whatever the hell you want. As long as
yeah,
your
just play
subscription is
everything on
good,
the
you can,
Virtual
yeah.
Console. Yeah,
Just
yeah, that would be cool.
they're old games. $20 a month, you can play any one you want for as long as you want, whatever.
That
We got
would be cool. Yeah,
that'd be great.
and I could see the majority of Switch owners subscribing to that because that gives them plenty of games ever to play. So
13 you keep. Could Nintendo manufacture a phone that would compete with iPhone? No. Can Nintendo do anything online that competes with anybody? No.
yeah, well, yeah, I don't think they would. I don't think a Nintendo phone, a Nintendo phone, or whatever you want to call it, would do well because Nintendo's not really they don't do general hardware very well. They are very good at game hardware, but just a multi-purpose hardware
Yeah,
thing is just not something they would do well.
their hardware is usually fine. It's their service that they just
Yeah.
can't seem to figure out. It's like, okay, well, let's have a 16 to 20 digit friend code. It's like, why would you do that? There's a better way.
Yeah.
Everyone else has been doing it for a decade, Um, but yeah,
Yes.
Nintendo phone would be like, "Hello," it'd be this big bulky damn thing. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, we are rambling, so
Yeah.
let us go away because I'm starving to death. I need to eat. Okay, so Andrew Eisen here. Eisen is the last name, is or how it's spelled rather. Type it into YouTube and you'll find my YouTube channel. I'm working on a video. It's like it's basically just I want to test my new lights and see if that helps. Because these beige walls, oh, it's ugly in here. My last apartment, the walls were white and it was a small space, so everything reflected nicely. So I didn't really have a lighting problem. But once I moved in here, everything gets all kind of gray and muddy. It's kind of terrible. But I've got new lights now, so hopefully that will help. So look forward to
Yeah.
that. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen, and you can watch me be completely childish there. Or my Facebook page is Andrew Eisen YouTube. So Zachary, plug
All
away.
right. All right. You can follow me on Twitter at Easy Night. You can follow my game development work at DK_gaming on Twitter, DivineKnightGaming.com. And if you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene, check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and OKGameDev.com. So there you go.
Cool. So that is it for us. Thanks everyone for watching episode 33 of Molehill Mountain. We'll be back at you next week with more podcasty goodness. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.